Think you're tough? Bring it on, humans!
Free money? And all I have to do is give you my bank account numbers?
Nope. Slow and steady ain't gonna cut it.
I'm not gonna lie, I did not expect to make this video at all. I already made a defense rant on this topic of Amphibia's filler episodes. In fact, it was the very first video of this channel. But despite making my arguments then, there are still many people within my videos who complain about the filler. And it's gone to the point that my annoyance towards the overused argument has forced me to make me update that first video. Also, I want to make a newer version anyway because the quality of my first video was crap. My monotone voice at the time and the wrong choice of background music for that video made it sound incredibly boring to watch, which is why it's weird to see how many views it got. To be clear, I'm not saying the music from the video was bad, it just didn't fit the mood for my video correctly. Well, understanding the story is one thing, and it is important for a story writer to make their story, but I still recommend you listen to it. The link to it, as well as Calamity Music's channel, will be down below. I hope you all check out her channel, she makes really good music. Anyways, for this video, I want to reiterate my main point from that first video, but also try to emphasize why people have this feeling towards Amphibia specifically. Because guess what? This critique is not unique to it. It's present in other shows as well. I just want to get this anger out of my system and put this issue to bed. To sum up my original argument, I believe that Amphibia's non-plot driven episodes are very integral to the show's overarching story because they allow us to relate to the characters of the show, which then makes us care about them, and with us caring about them, the story of the characters would matter to us. This is important to emphasize because if the story does matter, then we can learn something from it, which makes our time watching the show actually worth it in the long run. Stories can be easily entertaining, but stories that have a deeper message that actually helps audiences in the long term are much harder to pull off. In the case of Amphibia, its main message is how change is a long and difficult process that everyone goes through. With every episode of the show, we see the characters go through changes as small as learning how to use gaming skills in real life to as big as learning how to let go of what you love. A prime example of an Amphibia episode that is considered filler by most people is Bessie and Michelangelo. On the surface, nothing of significance is shown here that can help shape the show's overarching story. However, it's actually one of the more important episodes of the show because of this scene here.
This is perfect.
Are you okay? Did you hit your head? Are you crazy now?
I think the reason I don't want a new look is because I'm finally happy with who I see in the mirror right now. So whatever I put on, I just want to be able to see the same me looking back. So, what do you guys think?
Minimalist, Bernardo likes.
You're right. It is perfect.
Woo!
In this moment here, we see Anne accept the changes she has experienced, and while it does not look much on the surface, this scene is the main reason why we watch the show. Sure, there are other legitimate reasons too, but seeing Anne grow is arguably the main reason you should watch Amphibia. Amphibia is about how Anne changed and grew as a person, and it would be dumb to dismiss entire episodes because it did not contribute to the longer, more flashy story of Anne trying to save the world with cool anime powers.
Awesome! It was missing all the context. Like, what about the time I courageously ran for mayor? Or that time I stood up to those nasty tax collectors?
Boring.
Audiences want clear stakes, Hop Hop, and action.
Sean!
I get that this moment is not the most emotional or flashy moment on its own, but when you have lots of these small but still meaningful scenes, they really do stack up. To be clear, this development is not just a unique thing to Amphibia. When you watch other story-driven cartoons, they have the same attribute. They all show the characters have one-off simple adventures in one episode that does not contribute much to the plot on the surface, but they contribute a lot to the character's overall development. So why is Amphibia more often criticized for having filler when other shows technically have the same problem? The answers can vary depending on the person, but there are at least two things that contribute to it. For one, Amphibia had proportionally more episodes that focused solely on character development compared to other cartoons. Secondly, most of these non-plot related episodes generally had the same formula. With the Anne and Sprig episodes, for example, they all consist of 5 basic plot points. Certain expectations/rules were put in place for Anne and Sprig. Anne decides to ignore those rules and manipulate Sprig into breaking them as well. They have some fun initially, their plan backfires, and the two have to solve their problems together and reconcile with each other. After seeing multiple episodes where these characters seem to learn the same lesson again and again, it can get boring over time for many people. So I can understand the criticism, but I disagree with it for 2 reasons. For one, I generally don't find it boring because there are twists that freshen up this formula of a story, so it is ultimately a subjective take. Secondly, and most importantly, I would argue having the characters learn the same lesson again and again is actually a more realistic way of portraying change for a person. Remember when I said earlier that Amphibia's main message is how change is a long and difficult process? Yeah, this is what I mean by that. In real life, most people do not just make a single mistake and never do it again. I mean, just reflect with yourself and think about how many times you were given a lecture over the mistakes you have done. Chances are you likely made the same mistakes over and over, especially when you were young kids. So characters like Anne and Sprig making the same mistakes in multiple episodes, not only does it not diminish the quality of the episodes, it is actually a realistic form of storytelling. It requires multiple episodes for characters to truly learn and accept a lesson, and more than often, that only happens in these filler episodes. Now, of course, you may wonder, why do characters and people in real life make the same mistakes again and again? Simple. It's because our motivations are often different each time we make them. Referring to the Anne and Sprig episodes again, while the plot structure of each episode is the same, the motivations behind the characters' actions are different each time. In Best Franz, Anne's motivation for breaking Hop Pop's rules and convincing Sprig to do the same were purely for her own self-interest. She just wanted to have fun swimming at a lake. However, in later episodes, Anne's motivations to make the same mistake became less due to her selfishness and more due to her desire to help Sprig. By season 3, with Sprig's birthday, Anne's motivation for her recklessness was mainly to give her best friend the best birthday experience of his life. Sure, Anne still had some selfish motives at this point, but by the end of the episode, Anne's self-centered nature has largely gone away. Moving forward, Anne's motivations for most of her actions are selfless, which of course led her to the end of her story where she went from a self-centered character at the beginning of the show to a character who was willing to sacrifice herself to save the world she grew to love at the end of the show. The truth is, we would not have seen Anne's growth if it weren't for these filler episodes. These non-plot related episodes are indeed very important to watch if you want to enjoy Amphibia as much as possible. Overall, you can have your criticisms for Amphibia. I shared my own criticisms before in previous videos, but if you are going to criticize it, please avoid this argument of Amphibia has filler episodes. I'm tired of hearing this talking point again and again. It's stupid and very shallow-minded because you are missing the point of the show by doing so. But if you somehow manage to make it to this point of the video and you are not convinced, consider this final point. In the words of Matt Brawley, the creator of Amphibia, be careful about skipping episodes because you think they look like filler. You may get to the end and not realize you missed the journey completely. So yeah, these are just my thoughts. I hope you guys find this video worth your time. If it is, please consider giving this video the thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Anyways, that's it for now. Thanks for watching. I hope you all have a great day. See you in the next one.